bringing the outdoors indoors once again. It's a miserable wet day here in Cumbria today. I've just been out for a walk in the fields and I can hardly see the fells. It's just clag, lots of rain. But I had a nice time. It's nice to be out. Better a rainy day out than a sunny day in, so they say, especially here in Cumbria. That said, there has been some nice weather of late, autumnal mist down in the valleys. I'll show some recent photos up on the screen here. They are phone pics, admittedly, but still nice to see, you know. It's all food for the soul, as I call it. Incidentally, if you visit my website, you can see some of my prints on there. There's a sale on for some of them at the moment, so do check it out. But in this video, we're heading off to another favourite valley of mine, Wasdale, out in West Cumbria, where you're going to join me, behind the camera at least, and my friend Lakeland legend David Powell-Thompson as we tackle a route to the summit of Great Gable via Little Hell Gate, and it lives up to its name, believe me. You'll also note in the video that we follow the historic pack horse route, that is the Wasdale Head Pass. The modern day one that's very, very popular cuts across the flanks of Great Gable, if you like, below all the scree slopes. But the alternative, the historic alternative at least, is much more scenic, easier on the knees, and a lot quieter too. You're well away from the crowds there. If you do decide to follow in the footsteps of me and David, please be careful. As my friends in mountain rescue call it, be adventure smart. The traverse itself along the flanks of Great Gable on the Wasdale side, the route's not very clear to uninitiated. It's not really marked on a map, the Ordnance Survey mapping or anything like that. There's a lot of scree slopes, big boulders to encounter, so it's best to do it on a good day, a dry day. People get caught out with how slippy the rocks can be, or when there's clag descended down the fells, and that's often the case when mountain rescue get called out, unfortunately. So please be careful. And if you're a bit unsure of heights, especially with Little Hell Gate, it is quite steep in places. You need to take your time and use care, and try and stick to the edges that around the scree slope that is Little Hell Gate. Other than that, it's good fun. It's a bit of an adventure, and I hope you enjoy the video. So don't forget to like, comment, subscribe and share.
At the confluence of Spout Head Gill and Piers Gill is this pool, the Emerald Pool. I've walked up from Wasdale Head following the old pack horse route. It's easy to follow. It's formed by the hooves of countless pack animals on the way from Wasdale Head over Wasdale Head and down into Borrowdale. High above me is the head down flog that goes to the same place. And if you're in a hurry, that's the way to go. But I do like to visit the Emerald Pool. A friend of mine decided that when she'd finished all 214 of the Wainwright fells that he listed in his 7 guidebooks, that she would bathe in this pool. And she did. I wondered how she would manage to change and get dry and everything else, but she did it fully clothed. So I'm going to continue to follow this pack horse route. There is a ford just upstream, and then it zigzags in a rather pleasant, gentle way up to Wasdale Head. And from there, it's a southern traverse across the face of Great Gable. Well, this is obviously the Wasdale Head stretcher box, because it says so, just over there, big sign. And up there is the breast route, the stone staircase that goes directly to the top of Great Gable. But my route cuts off slightly to the left. This is Cairn Knots, and this crack directly in front of me is Cairn Knots crack. It's pretty obvious, isn't it? But to the early rock climbers, it must have looked impossible. They had spent their time climbing up the gullies, nice and safe, and then along comes a chap known as O.G. Jones. O.G., he reckons, stood for only genuine. And he looked at that, and in 1897, he climbed it. And that was a landmark climb, well, as far as I'm concerned, because it took people out of the gullies and onto the rock faces. And from then on, rock climbing never looked back. O.G. Jones went on to write about rock climbing. He devised a system of grading rock climbs. This one is still a severe undertaking for anybody, and it retains the grade that he gave it way back then. Nape's Needle was climbed for the first time by Walter Parry Haskett Smith in 1886, which he did solo, that is, without a partner holding a rope, etc. I climbed it for the first time on the centenary of the first ascent, and then stood on the top for some time and managed the rope while older Felon Rock Climbing Club members made their ascent, watched by people sitting in the dress circle opposite. Today the visibility is rather poor, so the true majesty of the needle is lost in the background. The southern traverse is broken by the scree slope of Little Hell Gate. By sticking to the edge, it is possible to climb up with some effort to Westmoreland Crag. Well, this is Westmoreland Cairn, built by the Westmoreland brothers some time ago, judging by the amount of moss that's on it. It hasn't been bespoiled or damaged in any way. Odd people have put extra stones on it. But it was built to mark the location of what they thought was the best viewpoint in the area. In my humble opinion, they've put it in absolutely the perfect spot. At the end of the Great War, members of the Fallon Rock Climbing Club got together and raised funds to create a memorial to their fallen friends. The result is the plaque on the summit of Great Gable and the right of access for everyone for all time. The existing plaque is a copy of the original, which itself has been preserved and can be seen in St Olaf's churchyard at Wasdale Head.